This is what I call my big fish of this conference. I wanted to get him ever since I thought it was a possibility. I reached out to him last year at this conference via text message, and he agreed to come, and I am super excited to have him here. I hope y'all enjoy him. Super nice guy. I can't say enough about him. I could spend an hour talking about him. But without further ado, we got Dr. Brian Bledsoe. He's the professor of emergency medicine, University of Nevada, Las Vegas of Medicine, and is an attending physician at the University Med Center in Las Vegas. He is a board certified emergency medicine and EMS. Dr. Bledsoe has over 40 years of experience in EMS and authored numerous textbooks, journal articles, and peer review papers. Dr. Bledsoe is a system EMS medical director for the Texas Health Resources in North Texas. He is a resident of Mildron, Texas. Did I say that right? And Las Vegas, Nevada. He spends 6 months a year at each place, working for 2 different hospitals. And I can't thank him enough for being here. I hope y'all enjoy his presentation as much as I know I will. So without further ado, please welcome Dr. Brian Bledsoe.
Is this on? Thanks for inviting me back to Arkansas. A little secret, my dad was born in Ashdown. I've never been there. I understand it's a big party town, is that right? Yeah, moonshine, huh? Anyway, is there a way we can turn the stage wash down a little bit? Thanks. I was reluctant to do this talk. I was actually, at the time the shootings occurred in Las Vegas on October 1, 2017, I was actually speaking at a conference in Rosario, Argentina, which is about 200 kilometers kind of southwest of Buenos Aires. But I worked that week. I flew back into Vegas. So not many of my colleagues are public speakers, and we turned down about 90% of the requests we have to give these talks. But I did develop this one, and this is the first conference I'm trying it out at. I'll be giving it to Texas and in Mississippi. A little bit on the story. Notice whenever they had the Pulse shooting down in Orlando, it was very well covered. There was a lot of information, surgeons were interviewed, and we know quite a bit about what happened in Orlando at the gay nightclub. In Vegas, you haven't heard much. Little bits and pieces come out, and part of it, I will tell you, is the nature of the town, but part of it is the event went horribly. And that's what we're going to talk about. Right now, I looked before I came down in my hotel room. We're in Las Vegas this year, this August 3rd. We're at 128 homicides in Clark County, and we're at 119 traffic fatalities. The year's not even over. The joke in Las Vegas is it's a better job to be a helicopter gunner in Vietnam than a pedestrian in Las Vegas. So the issue that I'm trying to make is the conditions that we're seeing during the shooting are something we deal with every day. It was the event and where it happened that is the problem. First, I'm going to show you a video. The event was a country music festival and an MG-owned facility on the south end of the Las Vegas Boulevard that we colloquially call the Boulevard or the Strip. And on the east side of the boulevard, that area hasn't been developed. There's hotels on the west side, so they built a temporary venue that was this event. And the festival is one that's been going on. It's a country music festival called Route 91 Harvest. It occurred in the fall, so noted country performers do this. It draws a large outdoor crowd. The weather that time of year is really pretty nice in Nevada. Jason Aldean, I'm not a country music fan anymore because country music left the country, if you haven't figured that out. But, was actually beginning his performance at the time that the shooting started. next thing they do, they turn the house lights on, better illuminating the crowd. Pure bedlam. Here it is from the view of the Mandalay Bay Hotel by some people who weren't attending the festival, but were videotaping the events that began to unfold. The house lights are already on at the venue.
And then we're watching a concert down and all of a sudden now there's I'm seeing 30
people that are still staying in the front row, they're like, what if we get shot? We're staying here.
somebody I think it's in the open fire. Dude, they're gonna start shutting down.
Is there people laying? Is there someone moving cover, guys? There's people laying in there. Look, there's people laying there.
There's people laying there. Are you sure?
Look at the people laying there.
No way.
That's a machine gun. Wait, are all those people laying there?
No, I don't know. That's what you're seeing. Because look at all the police. Oh, that's Jefferson. Oh my God.
Look at all the people laying there.
Where's the truth coming from?
I don't know who they're shooting at though. You can see everyone did it out. Like, the important curiosity I had to stay up here, but we really should get them.
So those of you who know guns, you know well that was a bump stock. I've shot automatic weapons, you know, they certainly fire much faster than that. When it was all over and said and done, there were 59 people dead, including the shooter. It was the worst mass shooting in U.S. history. in modern history. Best we can tell, there were almost 1,300 injuries. 422 of those injuries were directly a result of gunfire. A lot of them were actually the bullets hitting the asphalt and fragments coming up, so we were seeing a lot of lower extremity injuries. And there were other injuries from the crowd getting out of the venue, 851. I'll tell you why the numbers were uncertain. It has to do with politics with Las Vegas hospitals. And going on with what didn't go well. Las Vegas is a fun place. I mean, there are people in Los Angeles and San Diego that spend every weekend in this town. And I'm going to have to, there's two screens, so bear with me. But it's interesting to point out from the stratosphere here, south, this is the airport, the shooting was right here. On this screen, the stratosphere is down here. This is actually the city of Las Vegas. Everything else that you see is not Las Vegas. It's actually Clark County. It's an area called Enterprise, or Paradise, and it's basically the casinos were able to keep the taxing authorities out. So the city of Las Vegas wasn't involved in this at all. But this is the boulevard beginning really at the stratosphere. We're going on down. The shooting venue was right through here with McCarran Airport to the east. Las Vegas is fun. It's a town that doesn't care much about people other than their money. And it's good food, good drink. It can be fun, a lot of things to do. But in terms of being a benevolent society, it is not. Casinos still making millions of dollars. The economic damage from the shooting only lasted a couple of months, and people came back. It's still, I mean, even living there, it's still a fun place to go, meet friends and eat good food and have a few drinks. Satellite map of Las Vegas is actually in the Mojave Desert in a valley. Nellis Air Force Base is up here. McCarran Airport is down here. The shooting actually occurred right in this area of the Mandalay Bay. So my house is way out here in some mountains, but that's another story. Anyway, now this is what is interesting. MGM, which owned the venue, had this property. This is where the shooting occurred. Okay? Here's the Mandalay Bay, here's the Luxor, there's Excalibur, there's part of the Tropicana Hotel. This street does not cross I-15, which runs right through here. The next street down is Russell, and it does. Tropicana is down here, it does not, it does cross I-15. So this venue is right here. That guy was able to get a hotel room on the 32nd floor of Mandalay Bay and shoot directly down into the venue. And then, of course, when Jason Aldean was playing and they shut the show down, they turned the house lights on, which made the target even clearer. Of course, they had, retrospect is 2020. If you look close, though, here is the I-15. This is Russell. This road you really can't get across very well. So here is Mandalay Bay. The venue is here. You cannot go to the east because of McCarran Airport. So the people were basically trapped in this area. You can't go south. There's a Ferris wheel that they tried to build that failed. It's right here. These are old flop house hotels and apartments. This is actually the parking for people that work at Area 51 at Groom Lake and at the Tonopah test site. They call it, there's 737s that fly people up to the lake and it's called Jet Airlines, just another non-existent terminal. And so this is a very secure area. You can't get in there. This is a secure area. This is housing aircraft and such from McCarran Airport. So the only way out of this venue was to go down this street toward the MGM Hotel, or to go this way and get out on a street called Paradise back at the airport. So these people were essentially trapped. The Las Vegas Metro PD blocked the boulevard from Tropicana down to Russell. And ambulances could not get in, and people could not get out that way. I'm sorry on this side. Again, this is the parking for the federal employees that work at Area 51 in Tonopah. 737s parked here. The only way out is this way. This area is famous because that's where the Hangover movie, the guy jumps out of the trunk of the car, the naked guy was shot there. This is where the hospitals are. This event, here's McCarran Airport. This event happened kind of right in through here. Well, this is 250, right here. UMC, which is the hospital I worked at, is down here downtown. This is Sunrise Hospital, Desert Springs Hospital, Spring Valley Hospital, Southern Hills Hospital, and the Level 3 Trauma Center in Henderson. Again, on this side, this is UMC, Level 1, Level 2 Sunrise, just a non-trauma hospital, Desert Springs, Spring Valley non-trauma, Southern Hills non-trauma, and Henderson, St. Rose, Siena is Level 3. This is where the patients ended up. And this is one of the biggest problems. They ended up at the wrong hospital because all roads led to Sunrise. Now, Sunrise did a great job. But of the ones that we're tracking, 212 arrived at Sunrise, and they were managed there. Only 104 arrived at UMC, which is the primary catchment area for this venue. Desert Springs, which was pretty close to Sunrise, got 93. St. Rose Siena got 58. Spring Valley was not too far away, 53. Valley Hospital is right across the street from UMC, 30, and on down. Nellis Air Force Base did not get any. The VA didn't get any. The Northeasta didn't get any. So a lot of these people, you know, almost all of them were transported by non-EMS agencies. Our hospital is, the county hospital was established in the 30s. It's the only Level 1 trauma center in Nevada. It's Level 2 PEDS. It's a burn center, Lions Club burn center. We're the teaching hospital for UNLV School of Medicine and other programs. So it's almost a 600-bed hospital. We actually have a freestanding trauma center. You can't go in there unless you come by ambulance, and it's 11 beds. Dedicated CT scanner, dedicated X-ray, angiography, 3 staffed operating rooms at all times, behind a trauma ICU, 12 beds there, so it's a self-contained unit. Economically, it's not great, but functionally it works out pretty well, and that's where I usually work. At UMC, we've received 104 patients. Of those, 21 were transferred in from non-trauma facilities in Las Vegas. 0 transferred out. In fact, in 10 years at UMC, I've only transferred out 1 patient and went to UCLA, and an aneurysm that's non-emergent that the surgeons wouldn't touch there. There were 4 fatalities, but everybody who arrived at UMC alive lived, including 1 cardiac arrest who I cared for as well later. 60 patients were admitted to the hospital, 44 were treated and released, 12 of those were deemed critical. They did 20 surgeries in the first 24 hours, and believe it or not, craniotomies. At one time, they had all 3 ORs doing decompressing craniotomies at UMC. Fortunately, we have that kind of neurosurgical coverage. We actually have blood in the refrigerator at our trauma center. 33 units of PAC cells were used, 29 units of FFP. We, of course, have a massive transfusion protocol with some of these folks. 3 single donor platelets, those were special situations, and 5 patients received cryo. So a fair amount of blood usage, not as much as certainly we see with other things. The HCA facility, Sunrise, 700-bed hospital across town on the east side of the strip, they did a very good job. Patients ended up there because the signs, when they left the venue, directed them to the H sign, which was Sunrise Hospital. Our hospital was too far away, and they could not cross the boulevard to the west to go anywhere else. So what happened is the police department and the fire department actually blocked off the egress to the major hospital. And it was nothing malignant, it just the way it worked out. There was a level 3 down at Henderson, St. Rose Siena. They got a few patients. They have limited capabilities, and a lot of the stuff they get sent to us. Mandalay Bay, this is where the shooting occurred. This guy is what they call a high roller. He would play video poker, usually $1,000 a hand, and easily spend $150,000 a night gambling. When you're spending that kind of money, you get all sorts of treatment from the hotel. Although they did not give him the 2 rooms on the 32nd floor. he actually specifically requested those and paid for them, which should have been a red flag to the MGM. This is inside the room. This was shot by Las Vegas Metro PD. Guns everywhere. You know, in the shooting rounds that you heard on the video, he didn't reload. He just got another gun. You know, he was able to get all those guns. When you're a high roller like that, they actually would bring you up the service elevator. So, you know, they actually had the valet staff actually helped carry all the guns up to the 32nd floor. This is this view of the venue. This was shot by Las Vegas Metro PD. Windows been knocked out, the curtains going out. He had a direct shot down at the Route 91 festival. And again, remember, they turned the house lights on. There's still in this venue, there's a lot of trash and such on the ground. It was a very well-planned assault on humanity. Mandalay Bay is actually owned by the MGM Resorts. You know, all those casinos are owned by 3 or 4 different companies. It actually has 43 stories, almost a little over 3,300 rooms, 24 elevators, including service elevators. The casino's pretty big, it's one of the bigger ones there, 135,000 square feet. They also have a big exhibit conference area, about 2 million square feet attached. Several of the floors of the MGM Mandalay Bay are the Four Seasons Hotel, kind of higher end stuff. It opened in 1999, so it's a very popular hotel out there. Las Vegas Village, which is the event where the venue happened, is right here. And again, MGM wanted an outdoor venue. They own this property, so they put this up about 3 or 4 years ago. Watch the building. So here's Mandalay Bay, here's the Luxor, and here's the venue with the stage. So he was in this room here, shooting down. Let me show you on this side. Again, he was up on the 32nd floor, on the north end rather of the hotel, shooting down at this venue. This was the shooter. His name was Stephen Potter. 64 years old. He lived in Mesquite, which is north of Las Vegas, near the Utah state line. All these rounds were fired within 10 minutes. It began about 10:10, and ended 10:05 rather, ended about 10:15. There were actually 24 firearms found in rooms 32-124 and 32-125, which had doors that connected them that I showed you pictures of a while ago. He fired 1,100 rounds. You know, a lot of wars don't have that many fired. They found 14 223s of the AR-15 type. There was a few AR-10s. You could actually tell the sound difference in that video if you know anything about guns. There was a bolt action 308. I don't know that it was fired. He killed himself with a 38 revolver. He actually had cameras set up in the hallway. I was in Argentina, but I actually had to log in. I logged in and listened to Metro, the PD, sweeping the hotel and going from floor to floor with flashbangs. They actually had trouble locating the exact location of it until they finally got there. So when you look at the Clark County coroner, Clark County is the county we're in up there. The cause of death was primarily head wounds. Somebody shooting from 32 stories to a venue. And that's the reason UMC and also over at Sunrise, a lot of the surgeons were decompressive or craniotomies. A lot of neck wounds, you know, and vascular wounds primarily. A lot of chest wounds, and this was the thing that surprised everybody. We actually ran out of chest tubes in Las Vegas. They were taking suction catheters, like you hook the suction up to the wall, and putting them in as chest tubes. Ran out of ventilators, both hospitals. Got some in from the Air Force Base. Back wounds are pretty common as well because people dove to the ground and covered up. And you saw in that one of those initial tapes where they turn the house lights on. Well, people, the natural instinct is to get down, and you get shot in the flank and the back. About 2% leg wounds. Now, these are people who died. In terms of the people who were seen in the trauma centers, there were a lot more leg wounds because they were hitting the asphalt and pieces were coming and splintering up into the leg. So, the aftermath. Well, this is kind of how it all went down. This is the city of Las Vegas. Everybody saying, I'm going to Las Vegas. Most of the time you're not, you're going to Clark County. So this is the Clark County Fire Department's largest fire department. It covers everything except for Henderson, Las Vegas, and Northtown, and of course Air Force Base. So the shooting was actually right down here. It was in this unincorporated area. You know that, if you remember, those who are in the fire service, the MGM fire that occurred, what, in the 90s, that killed, what, 40 people? Guess what occurred? They did not have sprinklers because the casinos are so politically strong, they're able to lobby to not have the sprinklers. Now they did install them after that, and they actually were installing them when they had the fire at the Hilton the next February. So EMS providers, the primary responsible party for this is Clark County FD. At any given time on the boulevard, we have 3 fire department ambulances and 2 MedicWest, which is AMR ambulances. There's always 5 ambulances assigned to the strip. 2 engine companies, 1 truck company, 1 chief, just to the boulevard. So Las Vegas Fire Department secondarily responded. Their closest vehicles were to the north. Henderson Fire Department came as well. They're to the far southeast. Northtown provided some backup, but AMR MedicWest, owned by the same company. Community Ambulance is a new service out there that's partly owned by the hospitals, the St. Rose hospitals. They actually had the contract to provide the medical care at the event. They had a couple of ambulances there. They were not doing the 911 response. So here's what went wrong in our town. First of all, everybody was trapped. They could not go anywhere but to the north and east. They couldn't go south because of McCarran Airport. They couldn't go west because of the shooting in Las Vegas Boulevard. They couldn't cross Las Vegas Boulevard at Tropicana or even Flamingo to go to UMC or to go to the hospitals that were on the west side of I-15. This was a hot zone for 72 minutes. So ambulances could not leave staging at Tropicana and the Boulevard or wherever they were staged over toward Paradise and maybe Tropicana until it was deemed clear. So these people all self-extricated. It was homeboy EMS, you know, pickup trucks. And one guy, a Marine, even stole a truck. And they drove people to Sunrise, and the dealers gave them a new truck, which I think is great. So I actually had one of my colleagues, one of the SWAT doctors, they were stuck in the SWAT truck down in front of Mandalay Bay for 72 minutes while all this was going on. So medical people were essentially paralyzed because this was a hot zone situation. So the patients had to extricate, self-extricate. And realize most of these people don't know shit about Las Vegas. They just know where the boulevard is, they know where Fremont Street, and a few hookers. You know, so, you know, again, they were Lyft, Uber, you know, pickup trucks. They were rolling into Sunrise with 6 and 8 people in the back of a pickup truck. And actually, you know, humanity stepped up. And I think a lot of it was the culture of country music folks. I mean, that is probably politically incorrect to say, but I don't think you see the same thing at a Snoop Dogg. So again, this is the situation. Here's the shooting. You can't get out here. Everybody was diverted the way. You could not go west. You could not actually go further north past Tropicana. So everything was directed away from the level 1 hospital while things sat. And it was bedlam. You heard the bedlam in the first tape that I played, you know, from the set. People, you know, hunkering down behind barriers that really aren't barriers. People helping people. You know, it was, despite the horrible situation, you know, there is some faith in humanity still. A guy protecting a woman. I don't know if he does or not, but it's a very telling picture. People taking care of each other. This is on the east side of the boulevard to the north toward the Tropicana Hotel. So they're safely out of that area and people being brought there. And they're eventually getting close enough, the ambulances would start picking them up. Here's people being helped off. So what we learned from this is no matter how well you plan, they will find a way to beat you. I have said for 7 years I was medical director for EMS in Las Vegas. I've said in meetings with the FBI, with Homeland Security, with Metro PD, Nevada Highway Patrol about this threat. We heard this threat from this biker gang, or these drugs are coming from Nogales through Phoenix, or we've had a terroristic threat on one of the hotels. Nowhere in any meeting I ever went to did they talk about somebody breaking windows out of a casino and shooting a venue. So it was not on anybody's radar. It occurred in unincorporated Clark County. Certainly Las Vegas Metro PD had control of it, and Clark County Fire. But again, the fire department does usually transport, so you had the interaction between fire and the private ambulance service. And then they could not get out of the venue, and EMS could not get into the venue. And transport to UMC was blocked by a whole comedy of errors. What's funny is, UMC is the only nonprofit hospital in Las Vegas. That town is all about money. So we have shared our data. Valley Healthcare System has shared their data. St. Rose Sienna Catholic Healthcare has shared their data. HCA will not. They will not share the data, so our data is incomplete. So we really don't know as much as we should. We don't know as much as Orlando knew after the Pulse shooting. So the ambulance couldn't get into the scene, and there was no way to get the patients out. Most of these were people from out of state, and they did not know Vegas. They may have just flown in that day, and again, it was a hot zone for 72 minutes, so it was dangerous for EMS crews to enter. It was a head, neck, and torso trauma that was the major killer and the major injury pattern that we're seeing. There was some crush trauma as people were running to get out, jumping over fences, and none of it ill-willed. A lot of lower extremity trauma. Again, we ran out of chest tubes. We actually had the APPs, the mid-levels, putting in chest tubes in the hallway, in the adult ER. And then again, as soon as the shooting started, as soon as they pulled Jason Aldean off stage, they turned on the house lights. LED lights. So today, it's like it never happened. It's almost disturbing. I went to work the first day. Hey, did I miss anything? Nobody even thought that was funny. But they don't talk about it. They just don't talk about it. It's just another day in Las Vegas. Fremont Street's like it used to be. Buskers and party goers and loosely clad women. I guess they're resilient, or either they're in denial. Tourism went down and it's back up. MGM hasn't done anything else with the venue, but they haven't closed it. I drove by it 2 weeks ago. Nothing there, but they still have the stage set up in the bleachers. Mandalay Bay, they renumbered the floors of the hotel so that they could void the number 32. And there was really no significant support for first responders. The hospitals actually, you talk about emotional support, the hospitals actually did better for nursing staff and medical staff than the EMS did. There was a memorial down at the sign, down on the south end of the boulevard. They took it down and put it in a museum. With the Las Vegas Golden Knights hockey team and the T-Mobile Arena, it was talked about. Vegas Strong bumper stickers appeared. It's on the ambulances, City Fire, Medic West, AMR. But it's business as usual. It's just another day in the Chuck E. Cheese for adult land, UMC was ready. UMC's bounced back. We have learned from it. We've made some changes, working on ways to better inform people of the capabilities and status of the hospital. But everybody who's a paramedic in Las Vegas should know that UMC trauma never goes undivert. That's part of our role. Now, what was interesting was the amount of support we have from across the country. We did not have to buy lunch or dinner in either of the ERs for a month. And our hospitals full of these signs from across the country. This is from Loma Linda. And we hear, and food was delivered every day. It was amazing how the healthcare community reached out and supported, these providers in Las Vegas. And this is at our trauma center. Here's a bunch of cards from kids from Hawaii. You know, Las Vegas is the 9th Hawaiian island. It has the largest Hawaiian population outside of Hawaii, so they call it the 9th Hawaiian island. But here's the best sign ever, and this is on the door at Starbucks. Accomplisher to the Trauma Center. It's from a kid named Melanie. I don't know who Melanie is. I guess she's in Hawaii. It says, "Thank you for taking care of us and killing Stephen Paddock." Now, it is funny, but it's also sad. A kindergartner is thanking a group of medical people for killing an evil person. But that's how screwed up our society has gotten. So, the show will go on. What's the most recent thing? Believe it or not, and I'm not making this up, MGM is suing every victim who was shot. They don't want money. There is an obscure federal law that came down with the Homeland Security Act that says that if you're using a security entity that is Homeland Security approved, you have some liability protection. So in order to protect the casino and to avoid these things, they actually are suing to bring this law into play. Now, what I'm reading and talking to a few lawyers out there, it may be a long shot, but 1,200 people, you know, that just shows you that it's all about the dollar. You know, they don't build those big buildings because people are winning a lot of money. Yeah, people do, and they put their face up on the billboards, but overall, it's just adult entertainment. So, that's probably more than anybody's ever heard about the Las Vegas shooting. You know, learn, I know, hopefully you will never have to deal with it. Hopefully in my career I won't have. But look at what failed in one of the communities like Orlando, where we should expect that. We are a terrorist target because of the dam, because of the iconic nature of the boulevard, because Nellis Air Force Base and all the secret squirrel stuff that occurs up there, and just the national park. So we are targets. We're prepared. Orlando as well. But we weren't prepared. So, thanks for coming. Enjoy the rest of the show. Thank you.